Here are 5 biblical things a woman should say when she wants a man to pursue her. Number 1, you must say what you feel God is putting on your heart and then trust His sovereign power to produce the outcomes that He wants. While I will give you some specific things that you can actually say, we need to start with this general principle that no matter what you say, it really depends on God taking those words and sovereignly producing what He wants to produce through those words, because it doesn't really matter what we say if God's not involved. And thus, you really need to follow His leading and say what He's putting on your heart. And a great example of this in Scripture is Rebecca and Isaac's origin love story. So in Genesis 24, you may remember that Abraham sent his servant to find a wife for his son Isaac back in his homeland. On the way, the servant prays for a sign that God will show him who the right woman is. Let the young woman to whom I shall say, please let down your jar that I may drink, and who shall say, drink, and I will water your camels, let her be the one whom you have appointed for your servant Isaac. This was an impossible test for Rebecca to pass unless God was involved. She could never know what the exact right words would be, the exact right actions would be to lead, that would eventually lead her to her future husband. This wasn't a magic trick. This was God's sovereign power producing the right results through the free choices of the people involved in this story. God put it on Rebecca's heart to say this and do this kind act. Likewise, when God puts it on your heart to say something or do something, when you're interacting with a man, do it. Obey God. You never know what the results might be if you follow His prompting. Number 2, you must say something that lets this man know he's on the right track in his pursuit of you. While Rebecca did pass the first test, the servant knew he needed confirmation. This wasn't enough. Genesis 24:21 adds, the man gazed at her in silence to learn whether the Lord had prospered his journey or not. When the servant asked if he could stay at Rebecca's family's place, and he asked who she was and where she came from, he then got added confirmation. Rebecca responded very positively and said, yes, we do have space. You can stay with us. And I'm actually from the family of Abraham. And thus the servant had more confirmation that she's responding positively to what he's already offered. Likewise, when a man is pursuing you, you have to say things to him that give him confirmation. He too is walking into the unknown. He's trying to walk with God too. So when he goes out of his way to try something with you to see if this might flourish into a relationship one day, you have to go out of your way to make sure you verbalize positivity to him. Number 3, if you want this man to pursue you, you also want to say positive things to other people about this man. I've had many women reach out to me and express this deep fear of other people getting involved in their relationship with someone they kind of like. Usually it's in a church setting. Usually it's in a small church where everyone kind of knows each other. And this woman is just terrified of other people spilling the beans, so to speak, and ruining her chances with this guy that she likes before she even has a chance, because she said something to one of her friends or this mentor, and then that person tells someone else, and then they're worried it got back to him, and now she's in this paralysis by analysis mode. Now, I do think it's wise to try to avoid this back channel communication with a man, trying to send him signals through someone else. You don't need to do all that, but you also want to be careful that you're not so guarded with your feelings about this man that no one else could ever possibly imagine that you're interested in him, because when other people start to look at you guys a certain way, they start to smile, they maybe even make some jokes, that might be terrifying to you and you might not like that, but it's actually a positive sign because it's confirmation that they're seeing the same thing that you're seeing, that you two are connecting on a deeper level. Notice what Rebecca did after her interaction with the servant. Then the young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things. She also told her brother what happened. She said to him, "Thus the man spoke to me." Her brother then went out and interacted with the servant himself. Now, certainly use discernment. Don't just talk about this guy to everybody you can, but it's good to talk about this man positively to other people, because when this man hears about you saying positive things, if he does hear about it, that's actually going to show him that you're interested, that you respect him. That's an encouragement to him. Number 4, if you want this man to keep pursuing you, use the words, "I will go." While there was all kinds of amazing confirmation going on that this was really the person God had for Rebecca, she was the one who had the ultimate say on whether or not she was going to go. Genesis 24:58, and they called Rebecca and said to her, "Will you go with this man?" She said, "I will go." Likewise, if you want a man to keep pursuing you, you have to verbalize your acceptance of his pursuit. If you reject his pursuit too much, even if it's for good reasons, if you say, "Oh, I'm busy, I can't talk right now," or you don't return his phone calls or his texts, or you don't accept his invitation. Of course, life happens. Every now and then you're going to have to say no. But if you do that too often, even if you think it's legitimate, he's going to interpret that as you not being interested in him. And number 5, if you want this man to pursue you, you want to ask questions about him. Once Rebecca left her hometown and went with this servant to this new land, she saw a man in the distance. And Rebecca lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from the camel and said to the servant, "Who is that man walking in the field to meet us?" The servant said, "It is my master." In a symbolic way, this is what you want to do as well. You want to ask questions about this man, and you want to ask questions to this man when he's interacting with you, because that shows you're interested. When you ask questions, obviously that's a sign of interest. And thus that will encourage him to keep pursuing you and be interested in you as well. Here's a playlist of past videos I've done through the book of Ruth that hits on these types of themes from a biblical perspective in a greater way. There's 4 videos that go through each chapter in the book of Ruth. So feel free to watch that if you want to keep learning with me. I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com. Until next time, God bless.